One of the main reasons why you can trust identity federations is, of course, that they have legal arrangements, they have rules that everybody has to comply with. If they don't have that, you will only be able to have less trust in them and what is happening there. So let's have a look at what things look like in wayf legally. You have the central federation hub, you have institutions, and you have services on the left-hand side there. These are the players in the game here. Now, one important role is, of course, to be responsible for data. So the institutions here are data responsible. That's the legal term. They're data responsible for the information about all the users that they keep. Now, also, of course, the receivers, the services, are data responsible because they receive information and it's their responsibility to treat it properly. What then about the thing in the middle there, the federation operator, the wayf service? Well, it's data processor. That's a legal term too. So a data processor is someone who does something with the data on behalf of someone else. And here you see that wayf is processing information about users on behalf of many institutions because it connects many institutions, and this data then goes to another data responsible or many other data responsibles, this in the guise of service providers here. So we only have two roles. We have data responsible and data processor. The federation operator in this case is data processor on behalf of the identity providers. Now this is actually the same diagram, but it has a little different color setting, and now you may notice something here, that there's a line down here which says possible agreement. That might be a business relationship between a service provider and an identity provider. Now the service provider might be a very important thing here. They don't like usernames and passwords. They really want to have heavy stuff for authenticating users, so we are very sure that only the right users are getting in. So they can now issue requirements for the identity providers to actually operate several authentication mechanisms or ways to log in. Now we have then again the trusted third party or the data processor in the middle, and we have data processor agreements that actually have nothing to do with the requirements from the service provider side about login systems, for instance. But we process all the information that is going through the system on behalf of various kinds of agreements and setups here. So the services now then make offline, so to speak, or direct agreements with the identity providers about how to use this data and other requirements. And then we have the data processor agreement, you know, as part of the federation setup with the identity providers as well. Now, there's a different setup also that we have to consider, and these are the contracts. So, as I mentioned, there might be contracts or agreements between the service providers directly with the identity providers, but we also keep contracts between the federation operator and the services. These contracts define their relationship, their name in the federation context, the purpose of the service, the attribute release profiles, and the requirements in legal rights and obligations. So these are real contracts done on a bilateral basis between the data processor and the service providers. So how do these contracts then inflict on the data flows of the system? Well, it's an opt-out system, which is a legal term. You may have opt-out or opt-in. Opt-out means that everything is open. You may actually access all services from start on. And then you may opt out and say, well, we don't want our users to access service X, and we can change that. So we shut down a connection, for instance, from institution 2 to service X. Users from institution 1 will still be able to actually access service X, but it's opt-out, so they have to, be aware of services and how they behave and make sure that it complies with their policies. If not, anyone will be able to use the architecture as they like.